Hello everyone, welcome to another Random Flow GE update. So a few changes from the last video. First off, I have learned about the panel UI for the GeoNode modifier, and that is, of course, you can use the panel to basically group the related parameters or properties together, so you can open and collapse them by section. So right now you can see that we have triangulate the cut method and vertex color and the auxiliary in the panel geonode. And also it's and the offset, we have offset, extra offset, and its own version of auxiliary, which contains the remove source mesh and the shade smooth feature. And let's go back to the main topic of the video, which is the I have now created two solvers for the randomization of the uh, panel pattern. So we have RS and RM. RM will be the old one that I've shown you in the earlier videos, and RS will be the new one. So in terms of stability, I think the RS solver is much more um, in line with that because I know how this works. Whereas the RM solver, I built this, but I'm not so sure how it works. It works, so let's not fix it. But as for the logic flow of the nodes, I know that something's kind of amiss. So at least, even if the devs change how the nodes work, I know that the R solver will always work because it's really simple in its construction. So kind of like a backup if something happens with the RM solver. Um, and this is the RM solver, RS solver. The original is RM. So if something happens with RM, you have the RS for the backup. So this is the RS. RM, if you're using the RM solver, you have to edit these parameters. The names will still change. Will probably change in the release of the add-on. I'm abbreviating it right now. This has actually words, full words. The RM has full words and also the RS. So I'm saving that out for the release. Okay. So main difference, probably when you with RM, when you increase the detail, you get this really jagged edges, like the old videos which I've shown you, like this jigs, kind of, uh, what do you call this? Like a saw pattern, and you can mitigate that by decreasing the detail parameter. And this is of course relative to the also relative to the subdivision that you're using. Okay. But with RS, it's different. So increasing the detail, it doesn't produce those saw edges. You can see it doesn't create those. It just merely sticks with a bunch of squares. This is kind of like the radial solver in random panels. Radial solver is kind of like that, and also kind of like the square as well, the square solver. But I find that this is very susceptible to freezing Blender because of the amount of subdivision that's being used by this method or solver versus RM. So I've limited the subdivision to 2 and also the multiplier to 3 or something like 4. But you can, of course, go up from from that max cap by entering the value manually. So, for example, if you want to go up the subdivision level 2 limit, you just have to type number 3. And that is just a safeguard for new users. Doesn't Especially those who doesn't like doing the documentation. Okay, uh, let's try and render this. And it also has the main weakness as the RS solver, RM solver, which is that it cannot create. It will only create the big islands based off the current topology on how big the faces of the current topology, and it will not big. Well, it will not big. It won't create any panel islands that are bigger than the actual faces of the original topology, and can only go down from that. Versus if you're, of course, using the original random flow. So even if you start with something like this, you can use the panel size to create big islands and not get stuck with something like this. You can increase the panel size and create big panel islands despite of the resolution of the base mesh. The GNode version, as for now, cannot do that. It's it cannot create big panel islands. So you have to really, if you have to start with a really basic source mesh. Okay, so this is the new solver, the RS solver, and let's just play around with this. This is what we get if we try and render it. Everything's coming along. We have the random shading, the cut methods. We also have random vertex color. So everything that's the old random flow can do, or the original random flow can do. I'm going to go in offset phase, extra offset, and probably reduce this to, okay, let's just do 5%, and offset is 80%. And let's reduce the initial offset. So that will be the extra offset. Nope. No. It's 1%, and seed, random seed that to create another spot for the exclusion. So we get this. Okay. Auxiliary for the panel, and red vertex color for distribution. So this is going, number one is fully fully color 2, and 0 is fully color 1. So something like 0.2. So we get a little bit of uh, color 2, but mainly color 1. Okay. Is it though? Yeah. So I still think that in order for GNodes to really evolve, it has to use like Python scripts. A node that you can use to use Python script So let's switch to RM. So this is RM and switch to RS. So in some settings they kind of look together, but in terms of detail, I think RM will give out more detail, but you have this threshold where it can create those saw pattern in the edges, especially with slanting edges or angled edges. With RS, with RS you don't get that, but you get really you're stuck with this squarish detail. So versus RM, the original, but you just have to choose. You just have to play around. There's no best solver. There's only the one that works for you. So you can play with the two solvers before until you get the one that works for you. Okay, so this is our ship, and it looks really functional and believable. Okay, let's try and change up the base mesh. Oops. If you've used Blender for a really long time, the the issue for most users uh, over the years is the amount of hotkeys. But in the end, if you've learned it enough, this is no longer an issue. Or the I think there's something wrong with the might have changed that. Yeah, there's something wrong with the node setup. These parts are not offsetting, so I will be working uh, through the night to fix that. So RS and RM. I really like the effects of the extra offset. I was kind of thinking like maybe there's a way to generate interesting shapes out of the initial offset. So with the initial offset, if you try and create a high value for the maximum, almost all of the faces gets like this value. And so I thought that um, maybe you can control just some faces needs to like have this really strong value and not affect most of the faces. So this is the result. You get this really interesting extrusions. You just have to play with the because this we're playing with random because of the nature of the way it is constructed and being randomized. You just have to be patient and play with the seed value until you get what you like. You will eventually get what you like. You just have to play along with the parameters. Where's the multiplier? Or what the? Or maybe it is fixed. Wait, yeah, yeah, it is fixed. Just I just Okay, and play with the fusion. You get this really nice silhouette. It's all about the silhouette and but the balance between the inner and outer spaces. So I initially thought that I could like I'm going to make the parameters really simple and very easy to understand. It is easy to understand. It's just I thought I could make fewer parameters than random flow original, but nah. It needs to have these parameters in order for you to get a lot of control for the shapes. Whereas if you're just using like 5 or 10 parameters for this, you won't really get like in really interesting shapes. It'll be much easier to use, but you'll get a very simple um, and limited version of the of what the add-on could be. So playing around with the detail. There we go. So again, if you don't like, if you can control the amount of detail using the subdivision, the detail parameters, and also the amount of offsetted faces. Go back to RM. So there's a bit of a charm with using RM. You get this really small cubes of extrusion. There we go. And let's go back to extra offset, set this to 2% and play around with the seed value. Get this. Boom. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Things are coming along. I'm learning new stuff as I use GeoNodes. Now we have two solvers, RM and RS. Their names will still change in the release of the add-on. But right now you have this to play around once you get your hands with on the product. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions, just use the comment section or the links in the description. If you bought Create Flow or Random Flow in the docs folder of one of the major add-ons, Creative Flow and Random Flow, you can find the README file. There's a link to the Discord community. You can join there, and it is much easier to let me tackle your problems in there than actually emailing me using the shop feature, the shop emails. In the Discord community, we can easily send pictures and whatnot to uh, ourselves. Okay, so thank you for watching and have a nice day.